Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is a screencast-o-matic presentation and recording for the three primary docs that we're going to be reading and then analyzing together for this part of the lesson. Before we get started, please let me encourage you to open up to today's lesson and to scroll down the correct section and get ready to complete the questions that coincide each of the primary docs related to Hinduism and Indian culture. Please remember that you can replay any part of this presentation for detailed clarity or repetition later on. Let's go ahead and get started. From hymn 129, the Rig Veda, from about 1500 to 1200 BC. The Vedas are comprised of four collections of poetry that pay tribute to deities. Many of the hymns, like the one below, attempt to explain the world's origins. Let's begin. Then was not an existent or non-existent. There was no realm of air, no sky behind it. What covered in, and where? And what gave shelter? Was water there, or unfathomed depth of water? Death was not then, nor was there aught immortal. No sign was there, the days and nights divide. The one thing breathless, breathed by its own nature, apart from it was nothing whatsoever. Darkness there was, at first concealed in darkness, this all was indiscriminated chaos. All that existed then was void and formless, by the great power of warmth and bore that unit. Thereafter rose desire in the beginning, desire, the primal seed and germ of spirit. Sages who searched their heart's thought discovered the existence kinship of non-existent. Transversely was their severing, line that was above it then. And what below it? There were begetters, there were mighty forces, free action here and energy up yonder. Who verily knows, who can here declare it, whence it was born and whence it comes creation? The gods are later than this world's production. Who knows then whence it first came into being? So that is the first primary doc. At this time you may answer the key concept questions that coincide with it. And then when you're finished, you may resume this presentation, and we will jump to the other primary docs that are part of this set. The second primary doc is from a document called the Laws of Manu, and here is the document itself. The Laws of Manu, in circulation from 1500 BCE. On account of his preeminence, on account of the superiority of his origin, on account of his observance of particular restrictive rules, and on account of his sanctification, the Brahmin is the lord of all castes. The Brahmin, the Kshatriya, the Vaisya castes are twice born ones, but the fourth, the Sudra, has one birth only. But for the sake of the prosperity of the worlds, the Creator caused the Brahmin, the Kshatriya, and the Vaisya, and the Sudra to proceed from his mouth, his arms, his thighs, and his feet. But in order to protect this universe, he assigned separate duties and occupations to those who sprang from his mouth, arms, thighs, and feet. At this time, you may stop the presentation and proceed to answer the key concept questions as you see here, but on the lesson doc, and then you may resume to the third and final primary document. Let's resume to the third and final primary document on the legend of rice. The legend of rice, from a date unknown. In the days when the earth was young and all things were better than they are now, rice, the food of the people, was of larger grain. One grain was all a man could eat, and in those early days, they never had to toil gathering the rice, for, when ripe, it fell from the stalks and rolled into the villages. And upon a year when the rice was larger and more plentiful than ever before, a widow said to her daughter, "Our granaries are too small. We will pull them down and build larger." When the old granaries are pulled down and the new one not yet ready for use, the rice was ripe in the fields. Great haste was made, but the rice came rolling in, and the widow, angered, struck a grain and cried, "Could you not wait into the fields until we were ready? You should not bother us now, when you are not wanted." The rice broke into thousands of pieces and said, "From this time forth, we will wait in the fields until we are wanted." And from that time, the rice has been a small grain, and the people of the earth must gather it from the fields. At this time, you may answer the key concept questions that coincide with the primary doc right here, except on the lesson doc. If you have any problems, concerns, or questions in understanding these three primary docs, as Hinduism is complex, please message me directly and let me know, and I'll be happy to assist. Hopefully you found this presentation to make the reading itself a lot easier on your behalf. Thank you very much for tuning in, and good luck with completing the rest of the lesson.